replaced Romeo's and Juliet's castle. Teardrops like rain is the only thing approaching window panes she wanted him to name their child. Because the only thing her father gave her was a guilt trip and a name-plated necklace, and neither were interchangeable of how he used to replace birth names with baby. She begged him to call their daughter baby girl. She used to wish on shooting stars that boys were really from Venus and girls really from Mars, which could be the only explanation for this unearthly feeling. Yes, it haunted her even in her sleep. She would count sheep that leap over the moon, hoping that none of them would be circling above a cradle soon, and she would do anything except tell him she couldn't do this. She would do anything like pop X to escape that and her misunderstanding of X variables in math class. The only math worth memorizing to her was how many times he would say, I love you, how many times it would be true, and how many times he would follow that with, fine, bitch, fuck you. And she factored that with the functioning lives that he's divisible by, but nothing could break him, not even her equations. All those proved was the lies that she lived by. I always told her to stay away from those. She thought it was good advice, but couldn't listen because she was so caught up, so she thought about one day telling those 10 fingers and 10 little toes. She would mirror images behind cried-out pupils that showed him she didn't want to twist her frames like fragments through broken homes. She told him this couldn't be one. He would look past her dry eyes into his own reflection. He could never just swallow images. He always had to spit them out. And she wished it was that easy for her. But those shooting stars that she used to wish on didn't guarantee that men were from Venus, so she stopped wishing and she prayed. Not because she was religious, but because she was afraid. She prayed to her stomach to not make her another single statistic teen mother. That idea seemed so far away, but love seemed further. Further from the tiled bathroom floor where her tears played. Similar to the blue jungle gyms of red caskets that future kids would lay, you just prayed that they weren't yours. You would much rather claim that midnight in her closet next to her bed, you know, the one where she dreamt much more than she said. She said it'll be okay until she has a child. Because she thought there would be no heartbreak as worse as the one that people get when their children would grow up. And her mother told her she was right, so she prayed. Not because she was religious, but because she was afraid. She prayed. Not because she was religious, but because she was afraid. Afraid that what she hoped was the result of too much ice cream after dinner wasn't a future heartbreak. Afraid that she threw up because the butterflies in her stomach will morph one day into a young girl. Afraid that she had to go to prom with a date that didn't talk but was already inside of her dress, unborn and relentless. She was scared. And that fear broke up more than just a relationship. It split its seas and sections like Moses and peas, like little kids unsatisfied at dinner time. She prayed she could just spit it out. She prayed she could just piss it out. She prayed when she did, it went to limbo to stay away from the pigs in heaven. Is death really not remembering? She prayed not to be remembered. She prayed for anything but going to the clinic. Anything but telling him. Anything like popping X to get to limbo herself. But this wasn't only a prom date. It wasn't only a heartbreak. It wasn't a fucking X variable, and it was certainly more than a nameplate. It was her baby girl.